70, so that's almost 40 years. I don't feel like it's been that long. And I specialize in dyslexia. And the rest, hopefully, these other slides are going to look better than that. But, yeah, okay, good. So we're going to talk about morphology. And what is morphology anyway? It's playing, yeah, Molly.
Isn't it when you morph two words together?
Yes, yes, say that louder.
You morph two words together?
Yes, yeah, you think of morphing, which means changing, and how you're changing words. Like Molly said, by morphing them together. You're putting pieces of words together like happy. How can we make happy seem not happy?
Fun.
Yeah, and so, yeah, prefixes and suffixes. Yes, messing with the root word. Yes, yes, yes. So like in, yeah, they would, and sometimes you'll hear it called a base word. That's the Anglo-Saxon, the Old English, is they'll call it a base word like walk, a plain kind of word. A plain kind of word is Anglo-Saxon. And then they might make it fancier, like locomote, or maybe that's like Latin. So you have locomotion that might mean the same thing as walking. You can make it fancier, or you can make it real plain. Everything that we're going to do, everything that I want to get you to do with your students. How many of you are teachers? And how many of you are parents and you're here for your child? Okay, great. I'm just thrilled that you're here. And everything that I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to want it to be multisensory, which means you're going to use your whole body. And you're going to use physical stuff, the real thing, like the globe. And thinking about Old English words being plain kind of words, I like to tell the stories to my students that along, like thousands of years ago, the people that were living in what is now England, what do you think they did? They were living on these islands. They couldn't like get an airplane and fly somewhere to go grocery shopping or something. How do you think, what were their three main jobs to get food? Fishing, hunting, and agriculture. Yes, yes, yes. So that was their three things they did. And so Old English words are plain words. Almost all of our frequently occurring words in English, all those sight words you have to memorize, are from the Old English. All the numbers up to 1,000, because if you're hunting or fishing or farming, you want to talk about how many fish you caught. Or the colors, the plain color words are all from Old English. You want to talk about you caught a red fish, or a white fish, or a blue fish, and so those color words, the plain words, or like mother, father, body parts, all just the plain words. Those Old English people, do you think they were talking about electromagnetic? Right, that didn't really mean anything to them then, or atmospheric conditions. That was not something they were about. So it's important that your students get a feel for it, feel for the fun of the stories, because in dyslexia, or whatever struggle that we have, it's not that they can't think well. They're very smart. They think well. They get sentences. They get stories. What they don't get is just the little bitty phonemes, the little bitty sounds. It's just one little thing that's hard. It's as though, like Sally Shaywitz says in Overcoming Dyslexia, it's as though if you have those little wooden alphabet blocks, like babies or children or I play with, and they have the alphabet on them, a letter on each one. Sally Shaywitz says it's as though that letter was like rubbed out a lot, and it's not very clear. And they don't have a clear feel for the sounds of the language. But stories, oh my gosh, just like Molly can tell you tons and thousands of stories, and thousands of stories, and that is what's going to anchor. It's like going to give you a hook. If you think of a memory hook to remember things, having the story is what it's all about. Or like, just lots of stories, lots of fun stories about how in Old English it helps you to know that they pronounced all those sounds, like in night, to go good night, they would say night. Can you say it like an Old English person? Night. Let's go. Night. Yeah, they said all those sounds, and it's just cool to know that, and it helps you to remember, oh, there's IGH. Oh my gosh, that's in there, and they used to say it that way. And why it's important to do morphology is chunking. We're chunking meaningful word parts. What if we did like introduction? Like, what if I want you to pull down each part? Like the prefix is going to be introduction. Can you pull them down? Let's do it. Let's do it left to right like we're reading. Introduction. Yeah. Or what about preview? Preview. How about previewing? Previewing. So we're chunking, and we want to, it's a lot better. You have to be able to decode. You can't start this if you aren't to the level where you can decode. To read, you've got to be able to read somewhat, to get it to start here. But even first graders, you want them to start getting some familiarity, just like unhappy. I mean, that's something that's not hard to understand. Or happiness, or, jumping. Those are just plain old English words, jump. They're just plain. And so even first grade and younger, you want them to start appreciating that you can change words with pieces. And if you can chunk, you can read a lot faster because you just see it as chunks. You see it as chunks, and the chunks have meaning. Like port means to carry. Okay, so portable, what can you do? What are you able to do? Yeah, so portable. What if we do portable? Can you chunk them with your hands? Portable. And the cool thing with this is it's like, then cross your hands, okay? Cross your arms. So the words go like backwards to our English, like portable. It means able to carry. Isn't that cool? So like construct, con means with or together. Can you tell me con? Construct means to build. So if you construct something, you're building it together. I mean, you kind of have to be loose here with your thinking, but they go backwards, which is just cool. I don't quite understand why. But it's going to help spelling. It's going to help to see the connections between the meaning and the words. Phonemic awareness. And I had 2 cards here. Phonemic awareness. A phoneme is the smallest speech sound, the smallest unit of speech. Like if I throw you a word like cat, I'm going to throw you cat, and this is a technique called simultaneous oral spelling that it's on my website in one of my handouts, the steps. But I'm going to, and it's a way that you could do spelling words that is really good, but we're not going to really get into it today. But if I throw you a word like cat, we're going to figure out how many phonemes are in cat. So I want you to catch it with your non-writing hand and say the word as you catch it. So I saw a cat. Say cat. Now let it out one sound at a time, one phoneme at a time, starting with your thumb, or you want to go left to right, whichever hand you're doing. At. Now what were those? Okay, so those are the phonemes in the word cat. So how many phonemes are in cat? Okay, good. And a phoneme is going to be the smallest unit where if you changed one, it would change the meaning. What if I changed this one to What's your new word? Good. What if we change it to b? Yeah, so is that a whole different meaning? Okay, and so it changes the meaning. There is something, if you just said mat, but just said the M a little differently, like mat, that doesn't change. It still means mat, but you might just have a little different mat. Or cat, it doesn't change the meaning if you're using the same sound, same phoneme. Okay, and this phoneme, okay, let's say, what about fish? I caught a fish, say fish. Ish. Sound, okay, good. So those are your phonemes, okay? How many phonemes are in fish? 3. How many letters are in fish? F-I-S-H. So this is what I have you do if you were doing with your child's spelling. Then their next step, they would do F-I-S-H, because they often want to go F-I-S-H. And I say, you only had 3. How many do you have? You only have 3. You can't put up another one for the H, because do you say it's? All right, so it's ish. So 3 phonemes. Okay, what about 8, like the number 8? 8, I have 8 books. And you've got to be loud. 8.